Hey listeners, you're listening to the Midnight Readers podcast. Grab some tea, a midnight snack, and cuddle up in bed as we dive deep into today's most popular fantasies, sci-fi, and mysteries. We're your hosts. I'm Lily.
I'm Brittany.
And I'm Christy.
This season we'll be discussing a dark academia bully romance series known for its smutty content and often billed as a Harry Potter for adults. That's right, grab your Stardust, we're headed to Zolaria.
Welcome to Zodiac Academy. Note to students, vampire bites, loss of limbs, or getting lost in the Wailing Woods will not count as a valid excuse for being late to class or this podcast.
In today's episode, we're discussing Book 4, Shadow Princess, chapters 33 through 47. We continue on this roller coaster of a plot as Tory and Darcy finally make up. But love is taking a beating as Tory blows her divine moment and Orion's fate is up in the air.
Before we get into it, this is your warning for major spoilers ahead. This includes potentially all Zodiac Academy world books, including the Ruthless Boys and Darkmoor Penitentiary series. We might accidentally let spoilers slip for other popular romantasy book series as well. Sorry in advance. Like the books, this podcast is rated R. It's gonna get spicy. Also language, so be warned.
Also, a friendly reminder to please like, subscribe, and follow. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Just a note before we start this week's episode, we have decided to try something a little bit different for dividing up the next book. After this episode, we're going to cover less chapters in each episode. Cursed Fates will be divided into 5 parts, and I'll make sure to remind you at the end of the episode as well.
Last we saw Darcy, she was burning off Max Reigel's eyebrows and hiding in the library. She and Tory still aren't speaking, and Tory is feeling rather alone. She's pulling away from all her friends, and the only person she's spending regular time with is Gabriel. I know we have some differing opinions on this part, so I'd like to start off with the relationships that Tory has. Personally, I feel like Tory is being selfish and having a pity party. But Christy, I know you feel differently.
Yeah, I feel like she's going through a lot right now. And I feel like that, especially Darcy, should be able to see that. I know not all her decisions are the best right now. And she may not be recognizing things, especially with Darcy's issue with Seth. But I feel like she just needs some help. And Darcy has Orion. She has somebody that's that person to talk to. And Tory really doesn't have anyone. And as she kind of tells us, she feels like that all of their friends are technically Darcy's friends. And that she isn't the one to normally make friends that would truly be hers. So yeah, a little bit of heartbreak for her.
I agree. I think she is going through a lot and that people should be understanding of her. It's her attitude for me that gets me because, again, Sophia was her friend mainly first. So she made that friendship. I mean, she was friends with both, but mainly Tory. Milton, as you pointed out earlier today, also her friends. And even in this chapter, the cheerleading squad, she connects to them and she has friendships. And for me, this whole, they're all Darcy's friends and I'm going to separate myself is feeling sorry for herself. And it's nothing connected to anything else, just she's choosing to separate herself from her friends. And I feel like she could choose differently if she wanted to, but she's feeling sorry for herself.
I don't know. I think maybe it was moving or something. I do, but I feel like we've all been through those times where you don't always see reason. You don't really have the choice. I think the emotion kind of takes the choice away from you. Plus the fact, if you add in the shadows and we don't know what they're doing to her, I feel like that if Darcy was a little less wrapped up in her own stuff, that she would recognize that Tory was having trouble and she would reach out. Because I feel like in reading these books, Tory's always the one that's had to be strong. She's always the one that's had to kind of pick them up and make the money and all that kind of stuff, and that she's had to be the strong one, and I just would for once kind of like her to be able to kind of stumble and fall and to screw up and then have somebody there to catch her, kind of like Darcy has with Orion. She can stumble and fall and he's going to be there to catch her.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily Darcy's fault. Darcy is also going through a lot of stuff right now, and Tory is not being reasonable with Darcy. I think neither one. Darcy seems to be doing doing her best. But Tori, as Lily, you also pointed this out, and I felt it when I first read it. The shadows are basically like a drug, and she is addicted to them. And instead of feeling her feelings, she is diving into them so that she can numb herself.
I think I see both of your sides. I feel for Tori really deeply because I feel like I have been there before where you just get in your head and you know that it's not true, but it just feels so true in that moment. But at the same time, I totally agree that Darcy should have been taking a little more steps maybe to check on Tori.
I don't know. Part of it for me is when I set a boundary with somebody, like a certain branch manager, when I tell them I don't want them to speak to me and they go out of their way to force it on me, I feel like that's disrespectful towards me, towards my boundaries, towards my wishes. I need space. Had this person backed off, I might have forgiven her by now. Maybe. I might have been more willing to. Now I'm not.
But she wasn't the equivalent of a life partner to you. And for Tory and Darcy, they have been each other's rock through so much. And again, let me bring up how blatantly not serious Darcy is about it being a big issue. She doesn't want to tell Tori because it's all dangerous, yet they fuck in the middle of a bunch of people. So blatantly, it ain't that. You're not that worried about it if you're willing to do that. Don't blame the hormones, because that,
Wait, I have done something similar.
Wait, are you talking about
similar?
Are you talking about Darcy and Orion at the party?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if it's that serious, you would not. What I'm saying is, if you're that serious that you're not going to tell your sister when you know she's struggling, then you're also not going to be having sex in the middle of a party if it's that big of a deal.
Right.
At the time, Tori wasn't struggling, and she's not telling her because if they're caught, then Tori could get in trouble.
She's been struggling this whole book.
Not until after, well, I mean, she's been struggling with the shadows, but it doesn't get real serious until after the Halloween party. But my thing is, it's one thing for me to risk myself. I'm more blasé about that. If I were to risk somebody I loved, then no, I have to follow the rules.
To me, she is risking. So by having sex at the party, she's also risking Tori, because with Seth knowing now, if they get found out, Darcy's going to be punished as well, which also affects Tori. I mean, think about how they are connected there. And
Tori can continue her education. She won't get punished in any way.
She technically won't, but when you're talking about with the throne, you're talking about her power is also caught up with Darcy. They are stronger together. So if you take that power away,
they are stronger together. But Tori's claim to the throne still continues, even if Darcy loses hers. Tori still gets to stay in school, and Darcy doesn't have to leave. She can stay nearby. She just can't attend the school. She can still learn. Right? She's got her own personal teacher there.
But it does affect Tori as well. It's not that they are completely and utterly separate. There are ramifications for her as well. Same thing with Seth knowing, because Seth could ask her to do something that does put Tori in danger. And I, at this point, feel like that she would choose Orion over Tori. Like she would choose to save him over her sister.
I don't know about that.
I kind of feel like she would at this point.
I disagree. Especially since she knows at this point Seth cannot ask her to do anything to endanger Tori, because then Tori would know. And Seth is well aware that she's not going to put her sister in danger.
I think it would break her apart if she had to choose between Orion and Tori, but I don't think she would choose Orion over Tori. I think that I also
think that Orion would make that choice before she even had to.
I think he would. Yeah, I think he would never ask her to make that choice. I think he would definitely step in and say no.
I mean, he was ready to at the party. He was like, I'm not going to let you hold this over Darcy. I'll go right now.
And I will tell you, mine is a little bit colored with the fact I'm kind of Darcy'd out right now. I'm a little bit frustrated with her. So perhaps next book I will feel a little bit differently. But I think I like you were saying, Lily, with kind of identifying a bit with Tori in the situation. I think that is the same for me. And I think that there's a little bit of frustration with Darcy on that kind of personal level too.
And that's my problem too, is that I see too much of myself in Tori, that I'm mad at her because I know I would be mad at myself for doing it. So So,
All right. Let's
But yeah.
discuss the end of our book.
what about Tori and Caleb? They have started the hunt again, and
Which shocks me.
I see this going in nowhere but badness.
Yeah, I was surprised, honestly, that she agreed to it. But at the same time, I think I mentioned this to one of you. I think she uses Caleb the way that she uses the shadows. So
She does.
I feel like it's not because she really wanted anything from Caleb. I think it's because she just needed distraction and like an escape.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to say, and I'm calling it, I'm still saying that Caleb and Seth are going to end up together. I still believe it. Even though there's literally no reason to think that right now.
I mean, other than the fact that Seth keeps bringing up that kiss in the Shimmering Springs.
Exactly. And Caleb's thinking about it and he's like, you're right. But also,
He's totally like, no, that didn't happen. Like, I know it happened, but it didn't. Yeah. You noted about Tori and Gabriel getting close as well. What are you thinking about them?
I just think they're, nothing crazy. I just think they're really good friends. But I think maybe Gabriel understands Tori a little differently than maybe others.
Yes.
Because he's a gang member and she likes to steal bikes from gang members.
Because he pays attention.
Yeah. And he kind of has to because he's got the sight. So he probably knows some things about Tori that other people just don't have insight to.
Yeah, great. Christy, I know you said you feel a certain lacking in the relationships, the romantic relationships in these books, especially compared to books like Akatar. I agree. As much as I love Darcy and Orion, I've reading Reese and Feyre or Cassian and Nesta, Xaden and Violet, I just go squee over it. And the only relationship in this book for me that I get squee over is Darcy and Orion.
Yeah.
I like Tory and Darius. I like Max and Geraldine, though we don't get to see them really except from far away right now, so...
Well, I think I pinpointed it, why I connect more with the Akatar couples, and why in this particular book maybe it is that I felt that way. And maybe also I'm a little annoyed and over Darcy, just for this book. Again, short term. I love her, I just don't like her right now.
Yeah.
But I think it has to do with, oh, the darkness is coming in. Oh, the craziness. Let's go fuck. Where's the fucking planning? Where's the fucking, like, action? You know, it's always like dates and sex. And there's no, for Akatar, the relationship building is so beautiful because, I mean, they got the sex too. Don't get me wrong. They got a lot of sex, but there's so much action in between. There's so much that they go through, that you see how much they struggle to be with each other, that they earn it. And I don't know, I think that's what it is that there just seems to be a wild lack of planning with all the stuff that's going on, and you don't see them researching, you don't see them, going out. And they did in other books. They would do the research, they would do like the, spying or whatever, the action scenes. But in this one, that's all it really felt like was just dates. And I'm like, dude,
In fanfic terms, this is an angst and comfort fanfic, and Akatar is a slow burn.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we do get a bit of slow burn, I guess, but...
It's kind of like a stop and start.
Yeah.
But, so to me, what would have been a beautiful scene, so just as an example, would have been when they go to Orion's house. If instead of having been a picnic date, it would have been they would have gone there to go look around for stuff.
Get the dark stardust.
Get the dark stardust, something like that. And then they could have had sex during that. And it would have been like, awesome.
We're on a mission, but we're stuck in this room right now, so...
Oh, yeah. See, something like that. That would have been perfect.
And see, I think that actually happens in the Darkmoor Penitentiary, where they go on a mission and they're like, oh, well, we're stuck in this closet, so...
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I do like it a lot better.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I like it better than Zodiac, but I do like it a lot better than Ruthless Boys.
Yeah.
Plus, Gabriel is whiny in that one. and it makes me upset.
I think Zodiac Academy has less plot points. I think that it's very relationship heavy. I think it's very centered on what's happening between the characters, but ACOTAR is not always centered on that. Yeah.
And thankfully, the plot points should be picking up soon.
I see that coming, and I'm scared.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
All right, so in this chapter, Orion also decides to split the cheerleading team into two, with Marguerite being one captain and Tory being the other. And they are going to have a competition, and surprisingly, a lot of the team choose to back Tory. And can I just say, I love how Marguerite is the perfect example of a toxic boss. And Tory is the perfect example of a great leader right here. Because she's sitting there telling...
I can't with you.
I know. Marguerite is sitting there trying to cut Tory out, even though she's powerful. She knows what she's doing. She's made for these roles. And she tries to cut her out. And she's a dictator when it comes to what's going to happen. Whereas Tory immediately meets with her team and she's like, give me what y'all think we should do. And she includes her team. And I think that's why she's going to be an awesome ruler.
Yeah, I love that scene.
Yay, Tory. I think it's funny because we talked about how Tory might become cheer captain, but we didn't know what that entailed. And I really hope that this means we're going to have some really catty moments between Tory and Marguerite. I just am looking forward to it. I feel like Marguerite's not written bitchy enough. I feel like Marguerite's just like, oh my God, Orion, aren't you going to take her off the cheerleading squad? And Tory's just like so unbothered. Like, I need full out cheerleading war to happen.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I would love that.
Though he says the team is going to be the ones to judge them. 4 of the team are the heirs. 2 are Darcy and Geraldine. You know they're going to vote for Tory.
Oh, but Max will vote for Tory too, because Jerry's going to beat his ass if he doesn't. They are a hell yeah couple for me. Now for them, yeah.
Oh my God, you're so funny.
So you think the heirs are going to vote for the team that's not cheering them on?
I think Max will, because Geraldine will be like,
get your silver on this
say
side.
And he's going to be like, Tory, what'd you say? Tory?
And I know, Lily, you noted her snark in this scene with the, we're Team Twinkle. Winkle?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, I was dying. She just kept saying, Winkle?
Why are you yelling Winkle at me?
This is one of those moments where I needed Christy to be reading the audiobook. Like, because I felt like you would really enjoy it.
I could not do that.
Oh my gosh.
I would be adding so much commentary.
Oh my gosh. I was dying.
All right. So after practice, Darius and Tory kind of have a moment, and then Darius walks away after saying something so very, I don't know if it's sweet, but if it's I love you, it's I love you.
Yeah.
If you're going to fall, I'll fall with you.
Yeah, Darius is, I just want to say, Darius has so many moments where he could say the best thing, and he gets so close to it. He gets so close. And it's like he just can't commit. Yeah. I'm like, damn, can't you just say it? I know what you want to say.
And not just that, but then he'll turn around and say something awful.
Yeah. And he just fucks it up.
But in Darius's defense, Tory does the exact same fucking thing. Tory does that too. She'll go there faster to be mean. You know what I mean? She's more likely to immediately be like, but
She's
I hate
not gonna
you.
hesitate.
Yeah. So
she will. But she didn't try to drown Darius.
True. But I'm just saying,
killing is like a one way.
I'm just saying they both act very similarly. Like, they're very defensive.
Oh yeah.
And Darius gets a phone call from Xavier, and Xavier says their mother is acting very strange. Y'all had some thoughts on that?
Wait, where are we? Hold on.
When Darius gets a phone call from Xavier after he leaves the pitball match, you wrote something about Mama Acrux.
Where did I write this? I just realized that all this wall of text is your writing. writing.
Oh, yes.
I know, that's what I was reading too.
I was reading through it like, wait a minute.
That was we're on chapter 34.
No, that's on the response to me being mad at Darcy.
I see now. I was like, wait, what is this? Because I didn't see it.
I had to write stuff down to remember this is what I need to say.
Oh, okay.
And
so,
yes, I do actually, your thing in here, I like the Orion connects with Tory.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
love that. And we should talk about that more later because it's one of my favorite things. But yes, I had, as soon as he got the call from Xavier, I immediately questioned, is Mommy A. Crooks dark coerced? Because she says to Xavier, I wish I could tell you things when she thinks that he's not listening or that he's asleep or whatever. And it would make sense. Obviously, Lionel is so ready to dark coerce everybody. Like he's doing it to Darius. He tries to do it to the twins. Why wouldn't he do that to
He is doing it to Xavier
make sense
as well.
Makes sense.
He is?
He's dark coerced Xavier into never revealing that he's a Pegasus. He can't say it or talk about his order.
But he didn't have to. Xavier would do it anyways.
Yeah. I mean, he can talk to people who already know about it.
Yeah.
But
God, little Xavier. But yeah,
I know,
I thought that
right?
was a good pickup because I actually hadn't thought about that for Catalina until, Lily, I saw your note on that.
yeah, I mean, she's described as a plastic doll who just kind of floats around the house, making things pretty with her magic.
Who
I just
knows what's
figured
And
she
her
was
being
fake
done to her?
boobs.
Oh, yeah.
Also, can I say it is disturbing how many times Darius notes her fake boobs? That's his mother.
I was about to say she seems like a very much like Southern kind of, and it all matches.
What?
Like the noting of the boobs. Oh no.
I don't know. I was thinking that was maybe a reflection of the author's perspective on fake boobs.
Probably.
Oh yeah, because they are British. Damn it. Okay, so they wouldn't know about the Southern. Well, they may. They may. Anyways.
But yeah, so they also note that they start reminiscing about their childhood and how Mama A. Crooks was like playing around with them when they were younger, and then all of a sudden one day Max Reigel's dad walks in on them with Lionel and never again.
So that's at the point he coerced her to, or she was just afraid.
Possibly.
Could be either one.
Who knows?
Because Lionel didn't take that well.
Yeah.
That was probably so embarrassing for him to find his wife on the floor being tickled by his children.
If you're a man like that, you're a douchebag and you're a fucking insecure, pathetic little creep.
No, that's the lowest of the low.
That's insecurity at its finest.
Piece of
like,
micro-
I don't want to degrade shit to call you that.
I was literally like, I was like a piece of microbial feces on a rat infested. I don't know. Like, I was just like that. That's the lowest of the fucking low.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
During this conversation, we also find out that Darius hasn't told the other heirs about screwing Tory. How do you think that's going to go when they do find out? Because they will.
No, I don't. Are they going to care? I mean, I don't think Max and Seth are really going to care. They're going to be like, well, fucking hell. You too.
Obviously, Caleb is going to be pissed.
I don't know.
Seth might be jealous.
Maybe he'll have a little wolfie love already, and Caleb
You know
will be
how
like,
much he
I'm happy
checked
for
out
you.
Darius.
True. But I think right now Seth's
Oh, no.
brain is on a few other
That on
people.
Darcy.
That and Caleb.
But I want to say I like his mom, I think.
Caleb's mom.
Yeah. No, Caleb and Seth's mom.
Yeah.
Melinda and Antonio.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I feel like I like them.
They seem
wanna
to
hug
be
them.
okay. I'm scared to like them, so I'm not gonna
Me
say
too.
I like them.
I am too. God, that bring me horrible.
I'm gonna stay
I
in
think
limbo.
We'll get more of them in the 7th book, I think. All right, so afterwards, Darius goes to Asteroid Place to make up with Orion, and we get this little cute bromance scene where they offer each other blowjobs, kind of, sort of.
Oh
They're
man.
like, that doesn't even sound like a bad idea.
Yeah, he was like, I need to hold him. I need to cuddle him. And I was just like, wow, this is next level.
We just need to spoon him in the perfectly platonic way that this bond demands.
You gotta do what you gotta do. Sometimes that requires blowjobs, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I love that they were like, okay, we're just two men sitting on a couch, holding hands, watching action flicks.
Oh my God.
I think they're great. But I noted in this moment that I thought it was interesting that he was so willing to go apologize to Lance, and that he even says in his chapter that he needs to get over himself. And when
Yes.
he goes to talk to Orion. Orion's like, I should have known that you would have a hard time apologizing. I should have come apologize first. And Darius is like, no, I came to apologize because I care about you. And I just thought of Tori and how sad I was for her that he wouldn't do that for her.
I think you put, hit the nail on the head. Like, clearly, Darius respects Orion and sees him as family and cares about him. And that is why he's willing to submit, but he still sees Tori as beneath him.
Yeah.
Not his equal and not family. So we'll see if things change after what happened in this book. But
I feel like it's a conspiracy. Everyone is out to get Tori.
Yeah.
But yes, I actually completely agreed with that sentiment that he is willing to apologize to Orion, but not to her.
Yeah. And Darius won't listen to Orion about his thoughts about the twins. And he even goes as far as to say, I don't think he truly believes that Orion expects me to give up, or even share the throne with the twins.
Yeah.
And I just think that one little statement shows how stubborn and deluded and unyielding that Darius can be.
It's very telling.
So Orion uses one of his birthday IOUs to take Darcy on a picnic date, and we started to talk about this earlier, but what did y'all think about the date in general?
Obviously, Christy was very upset about it. I really did not consider that viewpoint until Christy said it, but I think I was thinking as a reader, the reader has not seen a lot of moments between Orion and Darcy that are not fucking.
Yeah.
And so
they haven't had much of a chance to date.
Exactly. And so I was excited to read it as someone who enjoys their relationship. And then also I assumed that the authors were trying to put that in there to show that they have a relationship forming, that they're not just having sex. And
buddies.
Yeah. And so I was enjoying it, but at the same time, I could see why you would feel that way because I didn't consider it in juxtaposition to Tori. But I will also say that I was just so happy for a breath of fresh air from Tori's really unhappy chapters in the previous section because I was getting so sad. I was like, I don't want to. I'm so sad. I want this to be resolved soon. And it does get resolved at the end of this book, thank God, because if it hadn't, I would start to go nuts. So I was very relieved about this section, actually, until the end.
So Darcy talks Orion into going to see the house, and Stella is supposed to be out of town, but after Orion takes her down to his father's dark magic dungeon, secret lab, whatever you want to call it, she comes home with guests, including Drusilla.
Okay, what are the odds? I've never seen Buffy. Sorry. What are the fucking odds that this character is named after that Buffy character? Because how many people are named Drusilla? What kind of name is that?
Oh my God. You would love that character. Holy shit, Lily. You would fucking love her.
She's evil, but she's insane.
She's fun nuts.
Yeah. She was, as a human, she was a nun who had visions and then was tortured right before her turning into a vampire.
Yeah, she was.
Damn. Is this your Bellatrix?
I gotta say, I like her even better.
She is not the Bellatrix of the series.
Darn.
But I like her better than Bellatrix. I like her better than Helena Bonham Carter's Bellatrix. That's how much I like her.
Wow.
Yeah, you would love her. Oh my gosh, she's fantastic.
What's her name? Juliet Landau?
Yeah, she's what's that? Landau?
Landau, maybe, yeah.
What's that guy's name? It's an actor. It's an actor.
What guy?
Martin Landau.
Oh.
I think it's his daughter.
Yeah, I don't know who he is.
Not
He's
a clue.
an older actor. But anyways, you would love that character. So when I saw it, I was like, I'm gonna love this lady.
She's just very the moon speaks to me and we're having a party, let's rip off an arm.
Oh my God. Crazy.
Yes. Oh, awesome.
All right, brain. When they go down there, Clara tells them that they need the Stardust. And you had some thoughts on that.
It is I thought it was really interesting how Clara knows about it and that's what she picks up on. Because my first thought was, okay, is she really who she says she is? Is it actually Clara?
Yeah.
Is it maybe an eviler form? Kind of like what we talked about before, but that was my first thought was, how do you know about it? Yeah.
Yeah, and Lily, you said that she must be watching them pretty closely to be able to be like, hey, yeah, there's what you need.
Yeah, I was like, how much has she been watching them?
Spying.
Yeah, spying is the best word. That's so creepy.
But didn't she tell Darcy about her needing that before they even went?
She told them that they need to build the Bridge of Stars, and that was it, and that they needed to do it on New Year's Eve at midnight. But how to build the Bridge of Stars?
Yeah.
I think Orion had to look that up.
Okay.
And we kind of learn how Diego is seen by his family too here, by them listening in on Drusilla's conversation with Stella.
Nobody seems to like Diego.
I feel bad for him, yeah.
Darcy likes him.
We didn't even like Diego. I feel bad for him, but I am hesitant to trust him again. I am just really nervous about, maybe not, I don't think now he has the intent that he did before. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he is intentionally going out of his way to be a spy or intentionally going out of his way to be bad, but I'm still really wary of things connected to him. So I'm unsure about anything to do with him. So I don't know. It says in this chapter that Darcy's defending him and she's like, he's got a good heart. And I was like, does he? Does he? I don't know.
Orion definitely goes, I'll be easier on him in the future because of witnessing this.
Yeah.
I feel like his allegiance is going to bend with whoever he feels most connected to or who's nicer to him.
Orion?
No. Oh, no, not Orion.
Oh.
Diego.
Oh, I was like, damn, that's pretty harsh.
Oh, no. Listen, I named one of my cats Orion.
Yeah.
So.
Love that.
Yes.
But
yes.
yeah,
I feel like that
I think that's fair. Yeah.
All right. So they come back to Orion's office. And she goes back to her room and finds Seth waiting for her. You had some thoughts.
With a valid question. Why do you not have some sort of protection against people breaking into your room?
Yeah.
Why do they not have that?
I don't think they've learned that magic yet.
They also didn't learn some of the other magic that they did either. She could go find a book and learn it.
That is very true.
Yeah, it's very true.
That is very true. And you also thought that that last paragraph was showing Seth a lot more about who he is and him being a douche banana.
Yes.
You know what's
He's very
funny?
much a douche. What?
You know what's funny? Just like Brittany will go to any length to bring up her anger about work, I think Christy feels that way about Seth. I think Christy is at any length. She's like, and that's why Seth is a piece of shit. I think it's great. Kindred spirits.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what's bothering me right now, so...
I know, I get it.
Although I have to say, I was a little less, I think towards the end of this book, concentrated a little less on Seth and a little more on Darcy. I felt more of my frustration with her. I think Seth is like, yeah, he's evil. Like, okay, file him away. So it wasn't quite so like, grrr, you know? It's kind of like Lionel. You hate him, you hope he dies a horrible death, but you don't think about him because you know.
You're going to compare Seth to Lionel?
What did I say?
Just in that way. But just in that way. So, but the douche banana part was like, yes, he's very much a douche banana. Yeah. Yeah. Just the whole fact of he's so angry that they have stood up for themselves is hilarious. He does in my mind. He's so whiny. And I know you guys said in the book that he's not like that, but he's like a 5-year-old child in my mind.
He is whiny.
That is very good of what he is. He's a 5-year-old child at the beginning of the book. Maybe probably even some developmental disorders.
Pause.
Try. And I think as you get to know him better, you get to see more of his personality.
So more douche banana-ness.
We'll see. We will find out.
It's like a front for me that he's showing.
So like a peel of the douche banana.
How crazy.
He's an onion.
Oh, he's got layers.
Makes you cry.
Makes you cry probably a lot, but he's got layers.
How insane would it be? How insane would it be if we compared him to Reese in book 1?
Oh, don't you dare. I will drive up there.
I will find you. I'm just saying, what if he shocks us?
So Reese never, when we actually see it from his point of view, he never did anything to harm her.
He broke her arm.
Shit happens.
Some arms were broken in the process. It's fine. We'll
And
see.
when it came down to it, he stood up in front of the big bad to take up for her when her own love just let her rot.
And to be fair, Reese did turn in what's her face, the human that Feyre put as her name.
Isn't her name Claire?
Yeah, I think so.
Claire.
Claire better.
Yeah.
So Reese turned her in and let her suffer.
Yeah. I'm not saying all of his decisions were great, but his motivating factors tended to be other people, just like him being raped for so long in order to protect his people.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, Seth wouldn't do that shit. He wouldn't take on that level of torture and responsibility for people he's never met.
Yeah.
So yeah. But, for Seth, I go back to the pitball match. He's so far in the negatives that even if he scores and goes better, we're still in the negatives. I need to keep a scoreboard of Seth and keep it up behind me.
That's what I forgot, the whiteboard.
Dang.
And
Keep forgetting it.
On the 0.0000001 chance that he does score just really big and pops it over 0 into the positives.
What would he have to do in order to score that big?
He would have to save all the animals in the real world. If he did that, then I would be like, best character ever. I love him.
Oh, no.
Oh, man. Which means no. He can't do anything worthy of redeeming himself because that's an impossible task.
Seth is forever evil incarnate for Christy.
So the next day, Tori finally learns the truth about Darcy and Lance.
Finally, I was waiting, man.
It starts out with Tori meeting up with Milton to get a cure for her hangover, and he's got some questions about, I thought you were a sex addict, and yet I don't see people come into your room.
Yeah.
I like that. I do. I kind of mumbled. I was trying to send this to myself really quick so we have it later because I know I asked you about the whole Darius speech.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm sending it to myself since I won't be able to use my phone.
Yeah, I was going to write that one down, but I never got there, did I?
I noted in the previous chapter that Milton, I think it was the previous chapter, that Darius was talking about Milton and saying that he had been fixing her hangovers. And I thought, oh, well, Milton must be a better friend than she realizes because, he's willing to help her and she's willing to ask him.
Yeah, this is where that was my point with she has friends that can be said to arguably be hers alone and not necessarily have anything to do with Darcy.
Milton doesn't talk to Darcy like that as far as we know.
Yeah.
Well, Tori's really the one that brought him into the fold, though. So I think he's
after she fucked him over.
He asked for it.
He did ask for that, but yeah, no, he's being a good guy right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caleb starts a hunt and she runs off right into the arms of Orion. I know there were some thoughts here.
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
You can only tell your fucking girlfriend your do or die by her hair?
Your Elysian mate, okay? Your likely Elysian mate. And you can't fucking tell her apart from her twin?
Maybe he needs a name tag.
It makes me worried for the last book, seeing as where we left off. Because if he can't tell who his mate is, or, his potential Elysian mate, and yes, I know, I just spoiled the fact that he does survive.
I figured. But here's the thing, how is Darcy not pissed?
I didn't consider that.
What?
How is Darcy not pissed? Would you not be pissed?
I mean,
I would be livid.
To be fair,
I
she
would be
might be
mad.
used to it.
No.
Nobody can tell them apart.
I think I would be so blown. I don't care how identical we are.
Agreed. I was disappointed in Orion, and I feel like this was only done so that Tori could realize what was going on.
Yeah.
Yes. You know what moment I feel like this was? Maybe not quite as big, but I feel like it sort of compares. Do you know in the movie, with when Dumbledore dies, and in the
Yeah.
book, Harry is spelled, so he cannot move, he cannot talk, but in the movie, he just stays
Yeah.
quiet. That's what I felt like. I felt like it was kind of an offense to Orion's character.
I gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
And Tori ends up burning some of his books.
I love how when you're reading it, there's so much focus on the books being being dropped and then burned and then dropped and then that was cracking me up because it was in the middle of this really important moment. The authors keep going back to the fucking books. Oh, that was cracking me up.
They're antiques.
Not important in this moment.
She burned advanced numerology. I love that Tori's like, dude, I just did you a favor.
Oh my gosh. Good
It's like a
stuff. But he's
theme.
like, but the numerology book.
And of course, Tori immediately doesn't want to pretend that she doesn't know, but she agrees to do it, which they should have done in the first place. I agree. Like, they should have figured out a way to just be like, okay, look, this is what's going on. I need you to pretend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It needed to happen. I was really glad that it finally did because I thought that I was going to be angry for the rest of the book and I was so relieved. I still feel like he got way too far with her physically before he realized that it was not Darcy.
She
but-
calls him Professor Humps a lot.
Oh my God. Yeah, I was a little like, okay, maybe if he saw her from behind or something, but come on now. Once you're kissing her, how do you not notice the
Yeah.
difference?
Come on now.
I agree. I agree.
And what are they going to tell their kids? I felt up your aunt.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
I mean, to be fair, my grandma was married to her first husband's brother.
This is Georgia.
This is Georgia. Oh my gosh. But we do finally move on to them finding out. And what's interesting to me is it doesn't have any more consequence for the rest of the book in any way. We struggled through that middle section, or at least I did. I struggled
Yeah.
through that middle section. And
It wasn't just you.
Yeah, for Tori to find out and then we don't really have to feel any consequences for it as of yet, I am very surprised.
I had really hoped, and I knew that wasn't going to be the case. I knew she was going to find out some other way. I had really
Yeah.
hoped it was going to be Darcy that told her.
Me too. Me fucking too. Is that another reason you're angry at Darcy?
I think so. You know what it is? I think too, have you ever seen that dynamic where you have the good, perfect kid and then the one that gets blamed for everything regardless? And I felt that dynamic in this book a little bit. Like Darcy was, oh, the poor little innocent kid that can do no wrong no matter what. And that Tori was the one that no matter what she did, no matter what she gave up, that she's always been the strong one to kind of hold them together. And that, I don't know, I just felt so bad for her.
You also have to remember that that idea is coming from Tori. She's holding herself to that standard.
Oh, she definitely is. And I think a lot of kids in that same boat do that. But I think it was just that, just maybe a little bit of protectiveness of Tori. So I think for her, that's probably why you didn't see a whole lot of rage from her when she found out the way that she did. I think she was just so glad to have her sister back and have it back to normal. But it was, I don't know if will we see any kind of consequence for that?
So there were two quotes that I want to point out. One was Darcy telling Tori, just listen, would you? Instead of making assumptions, if you could just ever control your temper, you wouldn't have half the problems you do. You know me, that hit me hard.
It was a little bit too close to home, maybe.
Maybe. And then there was one from Tori that says, I'm sorry for not trusting that you had a good reason to lie to me. And I was like, thank you, Tori. Thank you for finally realizing that it wasn't Darcy not being able to trust you. It was you not being able to trust her. At least that was the way I read it. I don't know how y'all read it. But that was my whole point, was that Tori couldn't see past her own anger to trust
And insecurity.
her sister. Yeah, and insecurity.
Yeah. I think it's both. It's both.
I also love that Tori is like, okay, Orion, I approve, but if you ever hurt her, I will fucking cut off your balls. And it's
Yep.
not the first person or the last person that she threatens to do that to.
And good for her.
All right, so everyone is leaving for Christmas break, and it starts with breakfast with the Ass Club. I wanted to shake Geraldine with a, see what I did there? It spells ass. Like,
Yeah.
Darcy tried to tell you that in book 1. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I was like, girl, where you been?
This whole part cracked me up. There was so much hilarious stuff. Although in the, for the audiobook, it wouldn't matter, but for the ebook, there is one part that says 2 ass members. And they spell it like the word ass, not A-S-S.
Oh, gosh.
And then, of course, the beautiful cut off their fingers, then their dingers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good. No, from here on out, the book is so good. Like, I get so excited about this section of the book. It's very good.
Mm-hmm.
So Diego is there looking miserable. And I know, who was it that read it that he was mad that they were happy together?
And it's not necessarily that. I think he's more jealous about the whole Christmas thing, because then he gets excited when they invite him until Geraldine is like, no.
Which, honestly, how dare you tell me who I can and can't invite to my house?
That's you, but although I was glad she did step in with that. You don't need to be there.
No, Diego.
But I just felt, you would think as a friend that even with that, he would at least be really glad that they were back to terms. And it almost felt a little interesting that, and I could be just reading into it too much, but it felt a little interesting that he wasn't super happy.
There was also a potential time skip. So we don't see Tori joining. She might have joined the Ass Club previously that they don't talk about. And then everything is back to normal because none of the other Ass members are like, Tori, you're back to sitting with us.
Yeah.
So it could have been a skip. And now he's just miserable at the fact that he has to go and be with his fucking ass family.
Okay, so maybe just reading into it too much. Okay.
Although he tells them to be safe, and I thought that was weird.
That is a interesting thing to say, especially since there was a nymph attack at the palace.
And who's connected to the shadows and the nymphs? I just think it's weird. I don't know what to think about him. All the heirs do their like lap through to say goodbye for Christmas or whatever, and it gets to Max, and he's apparently driving an Aston Miniton, and I was like, an Aston Martin? Which, first of all, is a British car. Again, we have another Britishism for the book. And second of all, I was just like, that's so goofy. So goofy.
Yeah, we got to stop with this shit. Fae flicks.
Flicks and Fazerati?
Yeah.
I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, you were talking about Darcy being reckless. And I think this is so reckless. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? At least, though, she thought it out and was like, I have an assignment. But she shows up in Orion's office, naked except for a coat and boots. And she starts unzipping before she gets through the door.
Again, my frustration with her keeping it from Tori and it being an all-important secret. But number one, she's going to invite him home for Christmas. And then this part where she is
to be fair,
going to have sex with him. Like it's just like...
She wouldn't have done that had Tori not known.
She may not have, but it's still a reckless move. If you're saying it's that important and you're that scared and it's dangerous, then you act that way. And it felt like the only place that she acted that way was with Tori. I don't know. I just got frustrated with that.
And I mean, again, I've been in a secret relationship and you do take those risks for that.
Same.
Even though you cannot, you may get caught, it's the only way to be together.
But it's not the only way to be together. They could be together and be safer. They absolutely could be. To meet up certain places that are safer. But to be walking around campus ass naked with a little coat on you.
I agree.
Is a little different, you know? I mean, at her house, instead of having her stay with them, it could have been like, hey, meet me here or there at like a secret place, or, you know, you can do it in secret without it being, please catch us.
I feel like the house is, I understand that because she's like, oh, we can meet up here and be safe because it's my home. No one's going to be there. She doesn't at that point know about the whole dinner and everything, but
Well, the
For the-
servants.
Well,
you don't
they
know
said-
who's watching.
They said plus that
True.
the palace is so big that whole wings aren't even being used.
They aren't, but you don't know the servants here. You don't know anything about the house itself. And you would think that that would be like, you know what? Let me go see first. Let me see if this is really going to be safe. I don't know. There's just a lot of thought going into not telling Tory, and it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of thought going in.
There was a whole lot of, I need to protect.
I mean, yeah, but again, it doesn't seem like that across the board. But that's my issues with those things.
Did we want to read Geraldine's big speech? I know.
Should I read her speech? Should I read it just for fun?
Sure. I mean,
So they
at the breakfast, after Geraldine says no to Diego, she has this whole big speech that she gives.
Yeah, she says, okay, I can't do it without laughing. It won't be a big deal. It will be the creamiest, spongiest cake filled with bayberry jam and sugar dimples. The icing will be made of honey nectar from the largest queen bee to ever spread her wings in Solaria. The cherry on top will be the juiciest, most succulent fruit to ever touch your lips. It will be a devilish divinity of dapperness. I don't even know how to say that. The bells of Nunong will ring into eternity. Dude, she goes off. This is so long. The nuns of Calhoun will cry the Vega name into the everlasting night. The counselors will have the wobbliest, weakest of knees as they try their hardest not to succumb to their most desperate urge to kneel at your feet and pledge to the throne, to the true royal asses they belong to. For a single momentous moment, no one in Solaria will remember the names Acrux, Rigel, Altair, Capella, for the Vegas will have returned.
The Vegas have returned. Oh my gosh. I love that she's using all these food analogies. And if you go back and look at her talk, it's either fish or food, which fish is food. So fish or food.
I love this girl.
She's nuts.
Yeah. And after the disastrous meeting with Principal Nova in Orion's office, she goes back to her room and Orion had stardusted in. They get a little hot and heavy, and then Tori's like, Geraldine's done something terrible, let me in!
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what's it? I felt bad.
I completely understand.
I do too, but I still feel bad.
My mom used to buy me clothes all the time, and they would sit in my closet, and I would never wear them because I refuse.
I did feel
And then
bad, though, that they didn't just tell her.
Yes.
But they don't want to hurt her feelings.
But she's going to find out because they didn't, for them to make it look like, because here's where I get a little confused. They made it look to her like they had the dresses on, but the other people saw what they really had on.
Mm-hmm.
So she's going to find out.
Unless, nobody knows about these dresses except for Geraldine because she handmade them. And everybody's just like, yeah, those are really great dresses. Unless they literally describe every bit of it, which
Yeah, I don't think they're going to
these
find
people
out.
don't really talk about fashion that often.
In the book, it probably never comes up, but I feel like at some point she would have found out.
Yeah, I think it's kind of hurtful that they did it without telling her, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And y'all brought this up a little earlier, when the airs go by and Max is like, looking hot as fuck, Russ. And her dad is like, she's like, it's okay. He just wants a twirl with a real gentle fae.
Oh my god.
She ain't gentle.
And they share this moment of, you know what your mama always said to do? Cut off their fingers, then their dingers.
They're so goofy.
I love that. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love them. I can't wait for y'all to meet Hamish's love interest.
Aww.
I have no words for the fact that that man gets a love interest.
Yes. I love those.
I would love if it's one of the heir's parents. That would be insane.
Well, so we don't really hear about Melinda having a husband.
Right. So I was like, are there any
Is it
other
Melinda?
single parents?
Is that why I love Melinda?
I think unless she does say your father and I, but I don't know if they're married.
That could mean nothing.
When she's telling Caleb he needs to come home.
And as we know, werewolves sleep around until they find their moonmate. Maybe she hasn't found her moonmate. Who knows?
Other than that, there's Linda and Tiberius is already fucked around on her, so
Yeah.
she might be stepping out too.
Oof.
Who knows?
I don't want Hamish to be like the sidearm, though. I want him to be the main guy.
Yeah.
Like someone that's devoted to him.
Yeah. You're beeping.
I hear it this time. Ugh, okay. At the palace, the twins discover some interesting things. The first being 2 rings and a tarot card from Astrum at pool. It's the sun, and it says, "Welcome home, dear princesses. Seek well, search deep. This house hides a secret within its walls. Where wings meet justice, your blood was sate." We hear that phrase later whenever they follow these glowing wings to this room with silvery wings and golden scales, and then they have a vision. What did y'all think about the vision?
Oh, the story of their mom and their dad, right?
It's after the one they have at night. I kind of skipped the one in the mirror. I was going to go back to it though.
Okay.
But only because the tarot card is mentioned whenever they do this vision.
What is the vision then?
The one with the little boy in Astrum.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah, because I was so excited when we were at the house. It felt so very clue-ish. And I was really hoping that we were going to have a little more,
Yeah.
information finding and stuff like that. Because that was really interesting. I love this part of the book.
Sleuthing.
I really did, but so it's a dark-haired kid.
Raven-haired is how it's specifically described. With
I immediately
familiar
thought of
eyes.
Orion.
I did too, but I guess,
Orion would probably be the right age.
would he just not have remembered that?
Sorry.
You're right.
Yes, sorry.
So who do you think this boy is in relation to Astrum, relation to the king and queen? Why is this kid in the palace?
Yeah, it's confusing, right? Because if he's with Astrum, then it makes me think that he's learning something from Astrum because he's a sightseer, or Astrum is. So I would assume that, but then why would he be in the palace?
And during the nymph attack.
Yeah, I was really confused. I felt like they didn't connect the dots on that. Maybe it's something we see later that we go back to.
Also,
But
I'm assuming. Oh, I'm sorry. Is Astrum alive? Because I'm assuming. So we think
think he
Astrum's
is.
alive, right?
I do.
There's a theory.
So maybe it's Astrum's kid.
That's a good.
Since the tarot card was brought up, what do you think the connection is there?
What do you mean?
As they were going down, they kept hearing their mother's voice, or a female voice. I don't know if they specifically said their mother, say parts of what was written on the tarot card.
Yeah. I don't know. And I was kind of.
Do you think this is...
Oh, wait a minute. Did they have a brother? Because in the thing it said to where the wings and justice meet, your blood was saved. And he saved the little boy. Did they have a brother that was, you're smiling?
Oh my god! What?
Please tell me Orion is not the brother.
So
I
it's
did
not
not.
Orion.
I did not catch that when I first read it. I did not. You put that together very well.
I didn't think of that either, but you nailed it, I think, Christy, because Brittany kind of gave that away a little bit.
Yeah, sorry. They have a brother somewhere out there. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Can I just say I love their brother?
Oh, okay.
Okay, unrelated. This whole time I've been picking apart a hairband. I've been taking the cloth off of it. And that's why I said ow, because it fucking smacked me when I broke it. Anyways.
Yeah. But also, I know that y'all were very upset, and I am too. I think it's very callous, though. You do what you do to save your family. That the mother replaced 2 human girls with her twins and let those human girls die.
Yeah.
She didn't try to save her son before that night.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy. I wouldn't have even thought of that.
'Cause
But that's
he was
crazy
there-
that they have a brother.
Yeah.
But that's not with Daddy Hydra.
No.
Oh.
So is Astrum the father?
Oh God. I don't know. I picture him like Mr. Rogers. Sweet guy.
Oh
But
gosh.
I picture him like Flitwick.
I picture him like Dumbledore.
that's even worse.
Really?
That's even
Yeah.
worse. Oh my God.
In my mind, he looks kind of warlocky. Like he wears robes and he's a little bit like hooey, you know?
Yeah.
Lift my robes up. Yeah.
Oh my god. It's disgusting. Ew.
So now that we've discovered this information, any guesses?
I have.
Before you do, let me.
No, do it. Hurry.
So,
Okay.
knowing what we know, it's a raven-haired boy.
Mhm.
His eyes are familiar.
Yes, but she doesn't know if that's because of the vision or because of, or whoever's having the vision, or if it's her own emotions.
He's with
Or it's-
Astrum. What did you say?
Or it's somebody we met.
Right.
Say that again.
Can you tell me why he's with Astrum without completely giving it away?
Astrum is the head of a secret society to protect the royal family.
Okay, so maybe he's just saving him.
Could also be his son.
That'd be so insane. If we're going with the theory that I think that he's the reason he's with Astrum, which is he's learning from him, then maybe, well,
Is he a seer as well?
maybe it's Gabriel because Gabriel has harpy wings, right?
He does. He is a harpy.
That's good. Is he raven?
And he's a seer.
He's a seer.
Is he raven haired?
I honestly don't remember.
And he's the same age as
the
Orion.
description. He is.
And Tori already, they actually both kind of already feel a connection to him.
They do.
And he was adopted.
Oh my god, you're right. Oh, it's Gabriel. Who else would it be? Is it someone we've met already?
It has to be with the familiar eyes. That has to be what she means, is she's seen those eyes before, whether it's from him or from Daddy.
Well, I was thinking
just
it could
like
be
him.
familiar eyes because it's like their eyes. I don't know.
I am
Yeah.
not saying that you're right or wrong, but I do want to bring up this part. Astrum, or Falling Star, was contacting Gabriel beforehand and sending him money.
So maybe he wasn't his daddy. Maybe he was a kind of conduit to. Please tell me Astrum is not the father.
I would die
Just
if he was his
please
father.
take that out of my head. I am gonna have nightmares.
Daddy
Gabriel.
Astrum.
Run.
Gabriel also does not remember his past.
Which they could have done to
Aw.
him, right? Make him forget.
He could have been coerced. Damn.
I think that is a damn good theory. That
Damn.
Lily, it's Gabriel.
I feel like didn't we talk about how we thought Astrum could be his father because he was talking to him and sending him
so.
child support money.
But also think about this. Gabriel is married to an Altair, so meaning Caleb and Gabriel are related. So if he is the brother of
Oh no.
Tory and Darcy,
Oh,
I know
Arkansas up in here.
I know it's by marriage and all, but
Oh yeah, we about to get real southern.
Oh man. All right.
That's-
Anyway.
that's some excellent thoughts. Okay, so they also find pictures of phoenixes in their mother's closet and a mirror that shows them their falling in love story. I guess their meet cute. Meet cute?
It's a
Which
meet
one?
cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their meet cute of their parents.
Yeah, I immediately thought of the mirror of Erised, even though it's not exactly that. I was like, maybe it's like a mirror of Erised plus a pensieve because we're looking at memories.
Yeah.
And visions.
Yeah.
So, in this, we learn that King Hale of Solaria married a princess from, I have no idea how to speak that country's name. So they're royalty twice over, I'm just saying.
Hmm.
That's right.
So they could rule over both lands, technically. And she did it to save her homeland.
Aw.
Yeah. And they were Elysian mates, and in her presence, it kind of calmed his rage and his craziness.
And that was to me
Savage.
what it felt. And I might be jumping a little bit forward with Lionel, but when he says something to the effect of maybe we weren't friends at the end, maybe she did change him and he wasn't the Savage King at the end, that he was maybe a good guy.
Yeah, or doing good things at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, good thoughts. All right, so Christmas Day arrives and the twins have their annual snowball fight, which is all cute and stuff. But unfortunately, the day is ruined by some unwelcome guests.
Yeah, what a bummer. Honestly, it ends up being pretty fun though. All
I was
the
gonna
heirs
say.
showing up for Christmas dinner. At first, it sounds terrible, and I was like, why the fuck would they be here? And also, who invited them? Because the twins didn't.
Yeah, this is where I have my rant. I love Jerry, I do. And I understand her reasoning. But for someone like me, and for someone like Tori, who's literally said she does not like surprises whatsoever, I need you to tell me what's going on. I can't make plans with my day and then you expect me to drop everything I wanted to do for something you didn't even tell me was happening.
Yeah, like give me a warning or something. It's just kind of rude, even if they're royalty and this is maybe how Geraldine expects things should go since she's doing what her father would do for their father. I just don't think it's the right way to handle it considering their upbringing and because she's their friend too.
Yeah, I was the same way. I was a little bit frustrated with her.
And she should know. I mean, yes, knowing that Darius is coming might ruin my day, but I'd rather prepare for it.
And just how they dress, how they act, like it should be, they get a little bit of say.
Yeah.
I mean,
again, this is their house. If they don't want them there, they should have been able to say, no, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
They literally tried to kill me. They're not invited to my house.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I wrote this
Christy,
quote.
oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Do your thing.
We skipped over this, but I wrote this quote down too after they learned the story of their mother and father. They say, we'd been born to rule over this kingdom, and the strength of our father and the love of our mother ran through our veins. We were the most powerful fae that had been seen in 1,000 years. We were the first fae to possess all 4 elements in living memory, so maybe it was time we stopped denying our birthright because the Vegas had been born to rule, and I was sick of being forced to bow. And I was like, Finally.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Sorry.
I did want to throw in a question too. I don't know if anybody else has kind of asked this or thought of this. How much does Geraldine know? Because
that's what I was going to bring up.
With her father being that close to the king for that long, being there all the way through it, she has to know some things that at some point, did we get a little insight into, I feel like she's
What do you mean? What does she know? Like in terms of what?
In terms of everything, of what went on with their murder, of just like for the Vega twins, because that society, the secret society, I would hope that Hamish is part of that. So there has to be some knowledge there, which means Geraldine surely knows more than what she's letting on as well.
Hamish knows of the secret society. I do not believe he's part of it. He is a close family friend, basically, an advisor. But as far as we know, he wasn't there on the day of the attack. And all that was reported was that Nymph broke through the wards and attacked the royal family and killed them. And we've seen that the Nymphs did attack the palace. So
which makes me think very convenient.
Sorry. There would be evidence of Nymph attacks. So I don't see why he would suspect anything other than...
Because I would have to think the king at some point and in some way confided in him. Maybe not just deepest, darkest secrets, but as a trusted advisor.
Based on how you saw him interacting with King Hale, do you really think that King Hale's the confide any secrets kind of person?
I don't think he started out that way, but yes, I think once he got married and had kids, I think perhaps he could have become that way, especially considering that Hamish has a daughter their age.
Maybe he was too busy with his own family at the time to...
But I mean, even security questions. Watch out for this or something. I don't know. I just feel like that Jerry is perhaps, there's something there that we're not seeing just quite yet, in a good way.
I thought it was a good question, Christy.
It is.
I don't know what she could possibly know.
I never thought of it.
Well, just like when we talked about with, I'm blanking on her name, from who we compare her to in Harry Potter.
Luna,
yes. Like she knew, like her father, and I realized some of it was like crazy stuff, but some of it was legit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
So they decide to wear their mother's dresses to greet the counselors. And of course, there comes this moment where either side could bow to the other, and neither does. I don't know why they thought that the twins would bow to them when they've never bowed to them. Yeah,
in their own home? With a throne in it? No.
Yeah. And they didn't bow to Lionel when they were in his home. So, yeah. In fact, Tory was more like, fuck you, I'm Tory. We do get very nice interactions with Melinda, Antonia, and Tiberius.
You know what I just considered out of nowhere? How insane would it be if Gabriel was their brother and he knows about Orion and Darcy hooking up?
He's getting visions.
And he's just like, treat her nice, treat her well.
He does say that when he's drunk.
That's a mess.
Take care of her, man.
That's a fucking mess.
Would he know?
Ooh, maybe that's why he hates Darius.
Oh, there you go.
He hates the whole Acrux family.
What about Seth? Does he hate Seth too? He doesn't like him either, does he? I'm not saying that in a revenge way. I'm just saying because of what he did to Darcy.
He doesn't like any of the counselors, but he hates the Acrux family most of all, and there is a reason for that.
He's the brother. Yep. Okay.
No. So, he ends up as part of this reverse harem, one of them being a storm dragon. Lionel blackmails him into providing sperm for his niece.
Ugh.
So that he can get his niece pregnant with storm dragons. And if she doesn't get pregnant with storm dragons, then one of the other in the harem, his brother, is going to stay in Darkmoor Penitentiary for a really long time unless she can produce storm dragons.
What the fuck?
So yeah, Lionel really fucked over Gabriel and his family.
Huh, okay.
Wow.
Anyways, what were we talking about? You were asking about the heir's
Gabriel
parents.
and his visions.
Oh,
And
yeah.
what if he sees his maybe potential sisters having sex with their partner?
So awful. Terrible.
Oh, man. But yes, so they end up going under this mistletoe that Marissa has spelled, and if you don't kiss under it, you literally get bad luck for the rest of the day. So people are paired, and poor Melinda is paired with Lionel. Tory and Caleb. Hamish takes on Darius.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, man.
Max and Geraldine, and let me tell you, this one was like, oh, good, kiss and bye. And
Yeah.
he's like psyching himself up.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And then Seth does something that you cannot call selfish. He tells Catalina to switch with him so that Darcy can be with Orion and Seth has to kiss Catalina.
It was weird, but I was like, wow, he was being sweet.
I was gonna
Or
say-
he likes mommy.
Oh, that's
he calls
great.
her Aunt Catalina. Come on. He's known this woman since he was born.
All
Yeah, I
of a
can still see
sudden,
it
Seth has a
happening.
mommy kink.
Oh my
Mhm.
God.
Oh yeah. I think he's always had one. We just didn't know.
He's got a anything.
He's probably like,
going
"What's
on.
up, Stella?"
You should have known that she would have a reason. You should have known.
Oh, man.
Oh God.
That's funny.
Right, so and Seth is actually pretty decent before then, and Darcy calls him out. She's like, you complimented me. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
If you compliment me, that means you're planning on doing something horrible. So what is it?
Yeah.
They all sit down for dinner, and no one sits at the head of the table. Somehow Darcy ends up stuck in the middle of Seth and Max, and Tori in the middle of Caleb and Darius, and things get a little awkward, to say the least.
Beautifully so. I love Tori. Just like,
I love that
Eating
she's
her
like,
just desserts.
I love that she's like, and I opened my legs for both of them. Like,
oh, I was actually talking about Lionel.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Above the table,
in
not
between
below.
Darius and Caleb. But yeah, no. She's like, I just opened it a little bit for both of them, invited them both in. No, it's
She was like, and what's going to happen here?
But yes, she does. Lionel tries to pull this bullshit about, yeah, we're gonna let the Vegas be a part of things. And whose home are you in?
Oh, I love that. Oh, yeah, that's great.
He's like, in actuality, some say that the palace belongs to the most powerful. And she's like, good point. It does.
Oh, yeah.
And I will say this, I'm super frustrated with this point because you'll find out more about the Palace of Souls later, but this is literally a palace that was built by the Vegas. Solely. It wasn't like the White House where tax money went into buying it. This was built by the Vegas, by the royal family. This is their original family home. Their magic is imbued in the walls. It does not belong to Solaria. It belongs to the Vegas. And that would be like somebody being born, having the most fire magic, and then going to Acrux Manor and saying, sorry, you have to give up your house because I'm now the fire counselor. And I just want to bitch slap him so bad.
Well, with that in mind, one of the things that I thought, and I know you don't actually know this yet because you haven't read the end, which I love. is I think somehow that's going to come into play in the end. That all of the magic, all of those generations of Vegas, something is going to come together to help them fight that whatever the end fight is going to be.
Like the
I
big
do know that
Hogwarts fight.
answer.
Yes, that's what I was thinking with the wands.
Yeah.
And they're like all coming out.
Yeah, all the knights start coming out that McGonagall summons and the whole castle fights back. That'd be awesome.
I do know that answer.
Did you Google it?
Nope.
You didn't read the last one, did
It's
you?
happened already.
Okay. Oh, it happened already. Oh, that should have been like the last fight.
In the last book. No, I'm not going to say it. Okay. But I'm just going to say it's happened already. Yay.
Nice.
You'll understand when you get there. Which I'm pretty sure is in like 2 books. So
Oh,
I don't know if I could be remembering wrong, but you'll see. I love that Tory calls Max out and is like, I think it's Tory calls Max out and is like, just go talk to Geraldine if you like her.
yeah.
And he's like, I'm not making a fool of myself for anyone.
Too late.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
like,
right?
Dude, newsflash, dude, you already are.
Have you met Geraldine?
You chase her like a dog with your tongue hanging out. Really? You think you're not making a fool of yourself?
Yeah, too late, buddy.
And they're like, oh, well, Geraldine said that she was meeting up with somebody. And it's a server. And they're like, is it that guy? And all of them, because Tori's like, oh, he's kind of hot, but no, it's not. All of them are like, we don't like that guy anymore.
Yeah.
Every single heir is like target number 1. And then Darcy's like,
know.
it's actually that guy. And it's this normal looking, not decked out, older looking man. And he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Max is like, she is not giving me up for him. She's like, well, actually, she said that he has something special and a really big,
And that he gave her the best night of her life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And Max gets up to go fight him, and they start laughing, and he's like, you're joking? And the heirs share a moment.
Yes, so good. Honestly,
And-
it was so refreshing. It's just so
It was.
refreshing to get all of this interaction with the heirs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the things that y'all had said you don't like the back and forth or whatever. And I'm pretty sure from this book on, the back and forth is mostly over, if not all the way
Starting the next
mostly
book.
over.
Yeah.
I just didn't want it to get to a point where it was like that something just horrible happened. And then they were like, oh, you're right. You might be nice. We might want to be on your side. Because then at that point, you're like, well, wait a minute. Now that it's affecting you, you care. So I wanted them to get to that point where they were on their side before.
I mean, it kind of did happen that way. The worst thing in the world to the Fae is to be star-crossed. And guess what just happened to their best friend?
Well, what I meant is like overall, like affecting the society at large.
You mean like, say Lionel takes over and
Yeah.
then they have to get together. Then they have to get together and
Yeah,
fight
like
together.
shows his true colors. And
Yeah.
he rips them out of their counselor positions and now they're on their side. Then it would be like, no, wait a minute. Like you're only doing that because you've lost your power. So I wanted them to get there before that so that you could still, they made the choice because they're good people, maybe deep down. So that's what I was really wanting. So I'm glad to hear that that's starting to change.
Yeah.
And after Caleb and Darius have their collision, Tori runs out of the room claiming to go to the bathroom and ends up in the Royal Seers room with the Royal Seers chair and ends up having an interaction with Lionel.
I thought for sure Darius was going to follow her and then ended up being Lionel, and I was sorely disappointed. And he touches her in a way too intimate way. I was like, okay, this is an important moment. And I was like, why is he touching her?
Yeah, they have. I think this pretty much shows. It said earlier, Lionel thinks that the most intimate thing he can do is zip down his pants for Stella
Yeah.
and let her give him a blowjob. And he's clearly not really intimate with his wife. And if, as you pointed out once before, having sex with him is basically, laying there and getting fucked. And he seems like the type of person who would take advantage of people. He would be a rapist. He would I mean, imagine poor Clara. And think about what Darius and Orion have been feeling. And then you have this bond with Clara, with Lionel.
Yeah.
Imagine what that girl had to go through.
Yeah. I think he just the power. And I think even with rape, the power aspect
Absolutely.
would be his. Yeah, I'd completely agree.
I think he wants the most powerful, the most pretty, the most rich, the most everything. He thinks it belongs all to him.
And
It
now
does.
that
And I,
sorry,
go ahead.
I was going to say, and now that the twins are becoming a threat and on his radar, maybe he wants them.
Yeah. And I felt like for this part, I felt like Lionel accidentally confessed.
Because he thinks he can
Yeah.
coerce it.
Yeah.
Yep.
In that one sentence of that they were friends, but, perhaps not at the end.
Yeah.
And to me, that right there was, I felt like once they got married, that's probably when they fell out, because as the Savage King, he was probably a lot like Lionel, and they made similar decisions. And then he gets married and all of a sudden he's making better decisions. And I bet they did have a huge falling out, and that whatever they were doing together, that stopped. But my concern is that he's going to figure out, well, I guess now that she has kind of broken his heart, then that's no longer the issue. Because my first thought was they're still going to have sex at some point. So he's going to figure out that he didn't coerce her.
Well, she did have sex with him after this.
She did, but at this point, she has now broken. And I bet Lionel is going to attribute that to his coercion, that she said no.
Which goes in their favor, to be fair.
Yeah.
We did skip over this, but both of y'all noted that when they were at the table talking about how their Christmases were, it kind of really touched Shell's heart or was it not at the table?
Mine was, and I think Lily's too, was when in the throne room, when Tory was talking about to Darius why no one ever kept them. And it was just fucking heartbreaking.
Okay, so I must have skipped ahead there.
Y'all,
All right.
Flocka has gone off her fucking rocker. What is she doing right now? Hold on. Okay, I'm sorry. Flocka was trying to knock over furniture, so I had to temporarily stop her. Okay, yes.
So, the ball. I found it completely boring.
Wait, did we talk about the conversation between Darius and Tory, or did we want to?
I thought that was at the throne scene, right? Didn't
Yeah.
you say that?
You're talking about where she tells him why they were never kept.
I'm backing up and talking about the ball, and then I'll bring it up in a minute.
Okay.
I found the ball scene ridiculously useless.
Yeah, totally unnecessary, I felt.
And it all led up to the throne scene, which I must admit, after reading this again, I literally had to go read Iron Flame again. Much better throne scene.
Of course.
Much better throne scene, but
I kind of
was also
agree.
missing Xaden for a minute there.
Your chosen book boyfriend?
Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah.
I also
I was gonna say.
I also have a fake boyfriend as my password. He's not in a book, but he is from a show.
Oh,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, we come to the throne scene finally, and it's like so heartbreaking.
Yeah, Tory and Darius have this moment, and Tory says some things to Darius. And we're kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah, I felt like this was his opening to really open up
and
apologize and tell her. I don't even know if he realizes what she means to him. I think even at the divine moment, he doesn't realize what she means to him.
He completely believes that she has no feelings for him.
Which is funny because, like I said earlier, he notices so much, or I put it in the notes. He notices so much about her, like the thing about Milton curing her hangovers, but he knows nothing about her. Like, he's so attentive, but he doesn't understand any of it.
He gets the details, but he doesn't get the big picture.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And Tori's the same way. She not necessarily notices the details about Darius, but she makes all these assumptions about what his actions mean. And to her, she doesn't acknowledge that they're assumptions, which is something at least I try to do. They're gospel truth to her. And that's frustrating to me.
It is, but in her defense, how many times has he tried to kill her or poison her or all this other stuff? So, and in those moments, I think she sort of trusted or hoped, and then she was hurt each time. And so you've had it before where maybe you were hurt by somebody, and so it was just safer to go ahead and assume the worst to make sure you didn't make the same mistakes.
I agree.
Not that it stops her.
That's how I feel about Diego.
And Lily, I think you said that she is the kind of hurt that when Caleb says that he doesn't want her long term, it really gets to her, even though she doesn't want him long term.
Yes.
Yep, because she, like, when she reveals this to Darius about people not wanting her, it strikes that chord that Caleb tells her to her face, "You're right, I don't want you long term," and that hits that place in her heart that already hurts. And it's like it's like a confirmation bias. She's like, "Oh, of course, I knew that," you know.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
Yeah. And after this little speech, we get the second time that they have hate sex.
I didn't think it was hate sex at first until the end. I so hoped that this would be the turning point.
Yeah, I put this in our notes, but I said I get why people hate or enjoy hate sex, but this is not quite what I want out of hate sex. It's just really sad. At this point, I'm not enjoying any of that. It's just devastating for both of them because especially after she's poured her heart out to him and basically said, "Nobody wants me." And then she tries to cover it up with a blowjob. And it's just sad that he doesn't see that she goes from that to trying to fix it with sex because that's her way of placating how she feels. She does it with Caleb. She does it with the shadows. She is a classic addict, for example. If she could smoke cigarettes and all kinds of stuff, like she does it with alcohol too, I guess. It's just really sad that he sees it, but he doesn't get it. And shopping.
Yeah.
Great point. Classic addictive personality.
Yeah. And for all the attention he pays to certain things with her, he misses the most crucial points.
He does.
Yep. Oh, and her need to steal and have adrenaline. That's also a way to cover up how she feels.
Very true.
Yeah.
The next day, Tory wakes Darcy up. The heirs have challenged them to a snowball fight. Can I just say that I love that she puts a silencing bubble? It's like, first I have to tell you this. I hooked up with Darius. And then Orion's like, yeah, I lip read all that.
I think their relationship is so funny. It's great.
Yes.
Tory and Orion, I love them too. Not as like a...
Yeah.
But I love their interactions all the time.
Yeah.
They're so fun.
They remind me of like, for Supernatural, was it Cass and Dean?
Yes.
Except for so many people shipped them.
I did. I shipped Cass and Dean.
Oh, man.
But you're right. It's a similar dynamic. Yeah.
Right. You're green, right?
Yeah.
The triple D?
Oh my god.
Darius's dragon dick. Oh, Darcy. This whole chapter is full of just fun.
Yeah. So they go out there and the heirs are like, you can't be on a team together. Y'all are team captains. Pick. And of course, Darcy picks Orion. I don't understand why Tory went with Caleb. One, it would piss Darius off. Two, Darius has water magic. Go with Darius. Caleb has fire, which is good for defense,
too proud.
But
yeah,
Tori's too proud.
She doesn't think strategically sometimes, in my opinion. Though she did get 3 heirs, which...
Yeah, but that's because... because Orion's like, Xavier's a liability, but fuck Seth right up the ass.
Yeah. Like, we all love an underdog, but we don't love an ass dog. Or whatever it is she calls it.
Yeah.
Xavier finally gets to shift.
Oh, I was so happy he was included. I was like, oh my god, Xavier's here and he's gonna play. And then they give him this freedom to be who he wants to be. And the whole group is like, yes, you got this. Like, you should just do it. And it's so beautiful.
Yeah. And even when Max sees him, because he didn't see him until after he shift or know about it, Max is like, looking good, dude. Like, everybody accepted him and, loved him. And I know that they had warning. But again, why, Darius? Why? Everybody else had this good reaction.
Yeah, good stuff. And then I noted that they say in joke instead of inside joke, which is such a small difference to how we say inside joke, but we should just start thinking of the characters as British at this point. The audiobook narrators should be British at this point because sometimes they say stuff and I'm like, what is that? I wrote down in my little handwritten notes, what is a profiterole?
That is a good question.
It's mentioned twice. It's a dessert. A profiterole? I'm gonna look it up.
Oh.
What is a profiterole? It is
my brain must have skipped right over it.
A crispy pastry full of custard or cream.
Ooh.
It looks like
they do a lot of good stuff.
It looks like a cream puff.
Okay.
Or an eclair. Claire.
No,
Maybe.
agree.
But I've never heard of that in my life.
Mm-mm. And they also
Yeah.
say doing her nut. I think it's like
Yeah, what is
saying
that?
ouch, that she's nuts. I think it was what they were trying to say. It was his assistant. Fuck Sharon.
Yeah.
Going
I missed
crazy.
that one.
Yeah, I didn't hear that one either.
When Seth's talking about his assistant.
Yeah, Sharon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
We have Cressida and Sharon now.
Fucking Sharon. Oh, Seth.
I forget what the in joke was. I'm trying to remember.
It was with Darcy and Orion, wasn't it?
Oh, it was Darius. No, it was Darius.
Yeah.
And it was a joke about what?
Lionel looking through the palace for things on the twins, and he's like, what's he gonna find? That you added toads to your raven sanctuary?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I
nice.
forgot all about that.
Good stuff.
And why didn't they invite Geraldine?
Yeah, I was wondering that too, but I guess she's doing her thing.
I don't think she would have come. I think she sees herself kind of like Hamish in that role, that she is more at
Yeah.
this point. I'm going to say servant, but I not in
Advisor.
the actual terms. But yeah, they're, perfect. Advisor, yes.
So
Yes.
they very specifically told her, we don't want a servant or advisor. We want you to be our friend.
But they're at the palace now, and I think that makes it a little bit different.
And she's
To
taken that
her.
upon herself. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. I think that for her is a role that she loves.
Yeah. But I do wish
Right,
they'd
I
invited
love-
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Though, of course, they might have. We just didn't get to see it. But anyway, I love that it ends with Caleb being a snowman. And he takes it so well.
He does.
After
I was
he breaks out,
surprised.
he's like, fine.
It's such a great bonding moment. I was like, this is my Scooby Gang. I was so happy to see them all hanging out, except for Geraldine, but I wanted her there.
Yeah.
But as I was reading this chapter and we were in the middle of the snowball fight and I was having a grand time, I was like, this means the end of the book's gonna suck. I immediately was like, I'm so happy and on cloud nine reading this. I know that the pain is coming. I was like, oh no.
Anytime a character is super happy, anytime they're thinking about the future, anytime they're like, this is the happiest I can ever be,
Yep.
you know, the next chapter, you're like fucked over.
Yeah.
And these books are definitely a roller coaster of emotions, and each low is lower than the last.
But the
Which really.
dynamic that they have going so well even crosses into when they decide to go back inside and they get all the notifications from Geraldine. They're like, oh, the press is here, you have to come. And then when Orion and Caleb both at the same time look at each other and they're like, fuck.
And they work together, which vampires don't normally do.
Yeah.
It was
Especially those two.
beautiful. Yes.
Yeah.
On that note, also, I would feel the same way as Tory and Darcy with what the hell? It's Christmas. Why the fuck do I have to be with the press?
Yeah, I agree. This is not the right time.
Yeah.
Dude.
I did like that they gave earlier the comment to Tyler's mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And fuck Mr. Pecker.
Fuck up. Yeah.
Fuck up, Gus.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Perfect. That is his name from now on.
Fuck up, Gus.
Yeah.
All right, so they go in, and Caleb and Orion hear the nymphs, and so they immediately transform into their order forms and start fighting. Of course, Darius is waiting for more room, and Darcy does wonder, how did they get in?
Ugh.
And I said, you know how they got here, Darcy. You know how they got here.
I started laughing when I read that.
Lionel is here. And it's just so obvious. This is the second time nymphs have invaded this palace. Who else was likely there when the nymphs came? And who else was there when the nymphs invaded the pitball pit?
And who else was conveniently out of the fight?
Yep.
Because remember, him and Catalina, and I think it was Melinda, were in a wing, and it made it sound like that they were fighting nymphs that way, but were they?
Were
I know they
they?
had some ash on them, but
You
it
don't
was
think-
pointed out twice that Lionel and Melinda were not there.
So you think Melinda's in on it?
I don't know. I don't
Was
want
it
to,
Melinda?
but it was really weird. Yeah.
I thought it was someone else, but it was Melinda? I don't know.
So it was mentioned that Lionel and Melinda were nowhere to be seen. And then at the end,
They come
Lionel,
in
Melinda,
together.
and Catalina all come out from one of the wings.
Covered in stuff.
Yeah.
Could he have dark coerced them?
Ooh, yes. I like that. I like that better. Because
Also, if you remember the newspaper that Astrum sent them, or the news article, Lionel was the one reported to find the dead bodies of the king
Oh,
and queen.
stop
it's
the press.
amazing how
It's
he's
obvious.
always there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you always check the husband and then you always check who finds the body. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was the first to arrive on the scene after the alarms were triggered.
Yeah, he triggered the alarms.
Yeah. And especially after they were no longer friends, the king wouldn't have notified him of an emergency if they were no longer friends.
Well, I think
Hmm.
the alarm went out to all the counselors, and him being a counselor.
They did it.
We only have Lionel's word that they were friends.
I do think that that was the case because he said it when he thought that she wouldn't remember. I do think they
Yeah.
were friends when he was the Savage King.
Or maybe
But
he
I
thought
think
they were
that-
friends.
Well, I think they were as friendly as you could be as like psychos. No. But
Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Lionel thought they were friends. Lionel thought they were on the same side, but something happened. And after he married Marissa, right? After he married Marissa, Lionel asked for a favor or asked him to do something that he didn't want to do. And he didn't agree with it. And he, in fact, probably banned it or some shit. And Lionel was angry about it and turned on him.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll learn more about their relationship later.
Yes.
So they all turn into their order forms, come busting in, fight the nymphs. Geraldine and Hamish are both injured. No, or is it just Hamish who's very badly
I thought
injured?
Geraldine was somewhat
They're both
injured, too, but I
injured.
think Hamish is badly
And
injured.
of course, Max goes for her, and they're fighting, and they manage to. Or Darcy is actually injured at one point, and she's almost probed by a nymph.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Probed.
And I think Orion saves her, right?
Yeah.
I only do the probing.
Oh, God. Nobody
love it.
probes my mate. Stabs him through the middle.
I'm sorry, Mom. After you said that, I'm picturing him turning to Darcy and be like, I'll stab you through the middle.
Oh, my God.
Okay. Resetting.
So at some point, Darcy and Tori make eye contact and realize that they need to turn into their full phoenixes and blast them all. And they do.
Which is
and
good.
sadly reveal themselves to Lionel
Yeah.
as phoenixes.
Yeah.
Superstar.
And of course,
Sorry,
you know,
it's an SNL thing. Y'all are probably too young.
Lionel
Oh, I was
is
like, what?
Sorry.
I was like, what?
Of course, Lionel is completely infuriated by Xavier being in Pegasus form.
It's like, are we
various
really,
covers.
is that really a priority right now? Are you serious, dude?
I was so disappointed. I was like, yes, he knows, and it's out. Fuck you, Lionel. And then Darius covers up for him.
Yeah.
And I sort of get why he does it, but wouldn't it be safer for Xavier if everybody knows all at one time?
I would think so. I would think so, because then he can't lash out at Xavier. I don't understand it, really.
Poor Xavier.
Mm-hmm.
Poor guy.
I don't think they think these problems through all the time. But to be fair, if Xavier were to tell everybody, not that he can, but if it were to get out, I do think that Xavier would be the one paying the price. May not be death, but
Yeah.
oh, we missed Orion and his book jokes.
Oh, yes. The fact that he and Darius go back and forth on that is too much.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
All right. Chapter 42, Tori. God damn, Darius is so fine.
Yeah. Literally the only thing she wrote.
Oh, referenced here.
When he
I know,
pins
I
her
didn't
up
know
against
either.
the wall.
Oh, okay. Okay.
When he leans over and he's like, you and I both know that is not the last time we're having sex. And I was like, stop right there. Stop, you little dog. You dog. Yeah, I kind of like aggressive guys sometimes. Remember I said that me and Tori
No.
have the same type? What? Crazy.
Orion takes Tory and Darcy out of there real quick against Lionel's wishes. Christy, I see in our notes that you have a question about the palace.
Well, I kind of addressed it before because I kind of wondered a little bit if the house was alive in a sense, kind of like in ACOTAR. Although I think I ended up comparing it to Harry Potter. But like in ACOTAR when the house was for Nesta.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if it was like that, but I think I ended up thinking it was more along the lines of Harry Potter, where in the end we'll see the energies and the generations come back to help.
But that's an interesting thought, though.
So New Year's Eve, there's a party going on on. Sorry, I just saw that the authors love the farts.
That's what I was laughing at earlier. Oh,
Christy, you
man.
don't trust Clara?
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't think Lily does either.
No, fuck
And
no.
she willingly helped Lionel in the beginning. And I realized there were other circumstances, but she wasn't like Orion, where it was like, fuck no, fuck you. And I realized she was bonded to him. So there is definitely that part. And I'm hoping I'm wrong and she's really good, but blatantly, we kind of see. And that was my thought at that point, is I really felt like she was going to be part of that whole big bad scenario, that she's going to help him. And that, so my kind of theory was when Lionel did that first test with her, that he didn't fuck up,
Yeah.
that he meant for her to go there, because maybe, I don't know, is there like an evil seer in here that can maybe see certain things happening and he
seer.
would have known? Yeah, well, if he could see like the Vega twins coming, knowing they had to be the ones to open the shadows, but maybe that was his ultimate plan, because he's not going to tell Stella. But I don't know.
If he could see the twins coming, wouldn't you think that he would have gone and killed them?
Not if he needed them to open the door. If he needed to send Clara there to become whatever she came, and he needed them to open the door to give them the shadows. And that may be why he hasn't even killed them up to this point, because he needed them like a key and needed them alive to do it.
Would you say that them surviving the fire that he and the nymph attack makes them the girls who lived?
Yeah, maybe a bit. Yes.
Oh my god, I can't not think about it now.
Yeah. And maybe
Found in the ruins of their house.
Yep. And maybe if you're right about that, because that's not a terrible idea, Christy. If you're right about that, and maybe he intended to send her to the Shadow Realm, which is hilarious if you're a Naruto fan. Shadow Realm. Or I mean Yu-Gi-Oh fan, not Naruto. Anyway, if he meant to send her there and he had intended for all of this to happen later, then does that make Clara less of a Bellatrix and more of a Wormtail? Because she has to bring him back. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm only going to address part of it.
Okay.
I don't think that he meant for her to go there and come back. I don't think that was part of the plan, at least.
Okay.
Just like
It could be. It just
Voldemort-
never is said.
Sorry.
You go ahead.
I said, just like Voldemort didn't intend for a part of his soul to leap into Harry.
True. Yeah.
He intended to kill him.
Damn, now there's that.
You're welcome.
All right, so I don't remember the farts, so please talk about the farts.
It was
Yeah,
something about farting
a
on the
funny
wind
line.
or something. Like they have all of these.
Chases it like a fart on the wind or something like that.
Yeah, that was making me laugh too.
This is the part where I don't have my notes in here. So knock it off, the whole war thing with the Vegas. Where is that when they're in their divine moment?
No. There's
No.
another moment before then when they're talking, and Darius is sitting there talking to Tori before about how they were going to be together. That's not the last time they're going to, have sex. But then it's like 2 seconds later, and I think it is right in front of Tori too, that he's like something about, well, we can always drown them or something. Because
Yeah.
oh, that's right. Because isn't Darcy like, you can't get us because you can't use fire against us? And he's like, well, we can drown them. And you're like, again, how do you expect her to trust you if you're literally talking about killing her right after you tell her that you want her?
Yeah, it's a mess.
Why are you looking like that, Brittany?
I can't say.
Oh no. Anyways.
Yeah. So it's New Year's Eve. There's a big party going on. For some
we
reason,
skipped-
Darius.
We skipped the conversation that they have with the other heirs where they ask them why they hid being phoenixes. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
I forgot. Yes, we could talk about that. So Darius comes and gets Tori out of bed and says she has to explain herself to the other heirs unless she wants to have a conversation with their parents. And I wanted to be like, or not once in this book or in the series, do they ever utter the words, I am a fire harpy?
Right.
Not once. Why did they have to explain themselves for your assumptions?
I agree.
Just
And
because
it's-
I let you believe that.
I think this is the scene where you're talking about, Christy, where he says where they're talking about later that he could drown
yeah.
them. I think that's where this comes into play. Because
Yeah.
the other heirs are like, Darius, aren't you upset that they're phoenixes? Because their fire is impervious and like you can't get through their fire or whatever. And he's like, nope, I can always drown him.
Yeah,
And
which,
it's a mess.
to be fair, they already knew they were impervious to fire before they knew that they were
Right.
phoenixes.
Right.
So why bring that up? But also, I do think that that comment, at least it was my interpretation of it, was that Darius said it offhandedly as a show for the boys.
Yes,
But
I
the fact
agree.
that he does say
Right.
it offhandedly as a show for the boys is shitty.
It is shitty.
I mean, don't expect this person to say yes to your divine moment if you're talking about drowning them in front of your friends.
Right.
I don't know if it specifically says it, but I always imagined it as Tori understood that it was a meh comment too. Like
I'm gonna kill you?
I'm just playing up to the field.
No, I think she says in the moment that like she knows that it's kind of like implied that she seems to know that, but she's still bothered by it, I think.
Yeah, I think ultimately she is. But here's my thing too. Even if they said we're fire harpies, it's none of their fucking business.
It
Like, they don't owe you an
It's not.
explanation after all the shit you've done. It's not like you're their friends.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
I didn't lie. That's the thing that gets me. They're accusing them of lying, but I didn't lie. I never said I was a fire harpy, and if I did, who cares? Do all the other fae in the world have to come to the counselors and be like, "Hi, I'm a Pegasus. Hi, I'm a Phoenix. Hi,
Right.
I'm a Sphinx"? No.
I'm sorry, has Xavier noted what he is to
Exactly.
the world? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the only thing we see before we finally start to get to New Year's.
Okay. All right. So there's a New Year's Eve party going on. Darius is for some reason hanging out in the hollow while Tori's in her room, and Darcy and Orion meet down at the cove to get things ready.
And they're waiting for everybody, but
And Tori's like, of course Tori's gonna come, and you know Darius wouldn't let you down. But the stars have other ideas.
and they wouldn't. I believe they wouldn't have let them down. I just
no.
some other things happened.
Well, Darius literally talks about the fact that he's watching the clock. He is aware he's going to be needed. He's ready to go.
Yeah.
I think at some point, I can't remember perfectly right now, but doesn't he think, I have somewhere I need to be?
It almost sounds like he looks at the clock and he's got plenty of time, and then he looks 2 seconds later and all of a sudden it's midnight.
Yes, he loses time, almost like he's being abducted by aliens. You know how they say
Yes.
you lose time?
So does Tori.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they're both drawn to this field where Darius looks up into the sky and the constellations of Leo and Gemini are brought together. So the stars rearrange the skies for them. And he's like, this is awesome. It means I don't have to do anything bad to her anymore. Nobody can make me do bad things to my Elysian mate. Nobody can separate us. And everything's going to be perfect. I can finally have one thing to call my own. But Tori's got other thoughts. And to be fair, they are very valid thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Go ahead. I was proud of her.
I'm not.
I'm not.
I think she makes the wrong choice here. But
Yeah.
I guess I looked at it more in like maybe more of a realistic type, just because of his back and forth. I'll kill you. I love you. I'll kill you. I love you. Just this almost abusive relationship.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that she stood back and was like, I can't trust him. How am I going to have this level of a relationship and truly enter into this if I can't trust him?
agreed. But just because you're being Elysian mates doesn't mean that you have to, be with that person.
Yeah, I was thinking like, why didn't she? I mean,
Instead,
I
she
really do
cursed
understand where she's
ahead.
coming from, and that she's taking a step back and going, okay, do I want to tie myself to him for the rest of time? I can't agree to this. But he's explaining to her everything as she's coming up with these reasons, and he's like, you don't understand, this could ruin our lives. And I think she should have just agreed to it, and that could be done, because that doesn't mean that they have to be together forever. I feel like with the way that we've seen their lives leading up to now, they'd still have freedom. I don't think that it would mean that they would forever be forced to be together, because even as star-crossed lovers, they're going to want each other. It's just not going to be in the way that is positive. So I feel like, yeah.
Well, yes and no. No, I agree. I think that what Tori did was brave. I think that if there wasn't the curse that is put on them,
Yeah.
I would applaud her because she can change her mind. She cannot change her mind in this
Right.
situation.
Yeah.
And not only that, is she ruining Darius's future, she is ruining herself. And whether or not they are Elysian mates, they can only love each other. The star-crossed thing says that not only will they love each other, the stars will do whatever they can to draw them to each other more so than they've been drawn to each other, and tear them apart at the same time.
Yeah, it definitely is really difficult, but I understood why she did it.
I do.
And I think that had Darius, oh my gosh, his whole speech was just such shit. I mean,
I agree. Why couldn't he apologize beforehand? Why did it take this moment to realize, hey, I'm fucking with my Elysian mate?
but even then, his apology, he did say, I'm sorry. But if you really paid attention to the words, it was basically,
We can start over.
we can start over. I'm sorry. This happened, like that whole, I'm sorry you took it that way type of apology was to me what it was. It wasn't like I was wrong. I should have done this differently. It was almost like he was trying to make excuses for what he did.
I agree.
And okay, but now we can start over. No, that doesn't, and it just, I think if he had just told her truly how he felt and that he was wrong and wished he could do it differently, I think she might have answered differently. But I think everything he said kept coming back to basically, let's put everything in the past because it's easier for us to move forward as Elysian mates. It wasn't, I love you, I can't live without you. Like Orion, I'm all in, fuck the stars, fuck everything else, you're it. Like, that's how you do it.
That is how you do it. So, do you have any thoughts, Dad, Lily?
I was gonna say, I did not hate his speech as much. I do agree that he said that he has a lot to make up for, and that he did not do as good of a job as Orion. But I would also argue that Darius is struggling with this as much as Tori is, in a way. And so I feel like he doesn't know how to get all of those thoughts out while also panicking and trying to get across to her what is actually happening. So in some level, I want to give him the grace there a little bit, because I feel like if I were in his position, I'd be straight up panicking. I'd be freaking out. I'd be like, I would not have the wherewithal to say what is the right thing. And granted, there are moments where he says stuff and you're like, okay, you're an idiot. Just say you're sorry. Just like take it. But I think he does try to take responsibility in some ways. He's just not doing it right. He's not doing it right.
I also agree. And you do have to remember that Darius was punished every time he showed any kind of weakness, any kind of emotion. He was beaten and brutalized. And
he doesn't know how to be honest like that.
Yeah, Xavier did say it earlier that if he was caught crying, he would be beaten, or, showing any kind of softness. That's why Lionel goes behind Darius's back and says, break my son's heart, because he needs the lesson.
I get it, but he's a big boy. And at this point, he can make big boy decisions. And he can understand. Even watching Orion and Darcy should have been at least a little bit enough. And even if he just said, listen, I'm going to fuck this up. I'm really scared right now. I'm panicking. I want to say, kind of open up to her like she opened up to him about not feeling wanted or being the reason that they always got shipped from home to home. He could have done the same thing and just come right out and said, I don't know how to do this. I want to, but I don't know how to do this. Just bear with me here. So, and I think she would have listened if he'd have done that.
He could have.
I don't think she would have listened.
We all deal with our traumas differently.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because she says no, and
they get black rings around their eyes.
Yeah, and you can see, I could see the panic in his face.
Oh yeah, because he knows, just like the guardian bond, there is no redoing this. There's no breaking that guardian bond. There's no fixing the star-crossed.
There's not. Here's where I felt like he truly fucked up and sealed the deal, was when she said, why now? If we weren't standing here tonight, if we were somewhere else, would you have apologized? And he says, you don't know how many times I wished I could have fixed what I'd broken between us, but I had to do those things. I had to make sure you and your sister didn't rise up and claim our throne. It wasn't about you and me. So in other words, he still feels that way.
He does.
Yeah.
And so that to me is where in my mind, I was like, it doesn't make me happy that she said no, but I am at peace with it because I definitely understand that he still could not in that moment be like, you would be an amazing queen or something, you know? We could share.
I can understand that. And it's not his throne.
That too.
Sorry, I just have to add that in there.
I agree. I agree that there's problems with what he said and that he still has so much to learn. But I also think that
It's just not worth the curse that she brings on them.
yeah.
I do.
Now they have no chance to fix it in the future.
So I am going to say that I do think something is going to happen, something momentous, that even the stars are going to be like, you deserve a second chance. We will give you this one moment. This, like, something will happen to create that opportunity.
I think so too.
I think they're going to end up together. And I think in that point, he is going to get on his knees and he's going to give her the speech she deserves.
I think so too, but I, in this moment, feel like I'm so frustrated with how the relationship has gone that I don't want that.
Yes.
In this moment, I don't give a fuck about that moment that's gonna come. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I, right now, am so frustrated with both of them that I honestly don't care. I am like, this is so infuriating. And I think that's why I was so frustrated at the end of the book where I was like, I can't fucking do this.
Where you invest that time and that emotion, and then it doesn't feel like there's a payoff there.
There is something that one of the characters brings up later that it's not really touched on, but why now? They're like, the way that the Elysian mate thing is supposed to go is that you meet your Elysian mate, and from that moment on, you are destined for a divine moment. You get tested, but sometimes you meet your Elysian mate and it's years before you get your divine moment. The stars waited months after pushing them together, and clearly they had no chance to even know each other, much less get over the fact that they were enemies.
Meanwhile, Darcy and Orion haven't had their moment and they're like basically in love already.
Yeah. Why haven't they had their divine moment? Why are the stars doing this to them now?
I feel like they needed them broken up in such a severe way for something.
The authors wanted me to be angry. That's why.
I'm going to write a letter.
Yeah, right?
God. Oh, that's great. Okay. Are we good with the Darius Tory moment?
No, but yeah.
Well, I meant, are we? Is there anything left to discuss?
No. No, at least for me.
All right. So let's go to Orion and Darcy. They go into the Shadow Realm together, use up all their magic, and bring Clara back.
Clara.
Christy, are you a Ravenclaw?
Huh?
Are you a Ravenclaw?
Ravenclaw?
Like a fan of
like
that
do you
house?
belong to the house?
I don't know.
You've never taken the Pottermore test?
No. Because I'll probably end up in the fucking Slytherin house.
Well, I was thinking you're either Slytherin or Ravenclaw.
Not all Slytherin are bad. They're just ambitious.
Slytherin doesn't mean bad. People love Slytherins. Most of my friends are Slytherins. I'm not saying that sounded funny. I just had a moment where I was just wondering because I was thinking of how you interpreted that Darius scene versus how I interpreted it, and I was just wondering. I was like, I wonder if Christy's a Slytherin, but then I was like, no, that might be more a Ravenclaw.
I've never taken that test. So what are you two?
I've taken it twice, and I've gotten both Gryffindor and Ravenclaw. And I don't know if I can accurately take it because I know I know which way I answer it, which way it's going to lead me.
So it's a different test nowadays, so you might be able to retake it, Brittany.
Okay.
But even when I cheat on the test, I end up with the same one. What do you think it is?
Gryffindor.
A Ravenclaw.
That's very nice of you guys, but it's Hufflepuff every time.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Every time. And I was just thinking about how when I was reading the Darius chapter, the Darius scene, how I wanted to be really fair to him and think about where he was coming up from, like his perspective, when really I don't have to be fair to him. And I was just thinking, wow, that's a really Hufflepuff thing of me to do. And I was like, Christy didn't give a fuck about that.
Slytherin? Yep.
No, but really, nowadays, people don't interpret Slytherin as evil or anything. It just is ambitious.
What is this test?
It's no longer Pottermore, but let me see if I can find it. It's Wizarding World. You have to sign up for the
official
Wizarding World.
Hogwarts house sorting quiz.
Is it on wizardingworld.com?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that's the right one. So I need to know. Johan is a Ravenclaw.
Okay.
Just so you guys know. But growing up, most of my friends were Slytherin. And it's there's like a running joke in the fandom that Slytherin and Hufflepuff are usually besties.
Nice. What's Johan? I think you already answered that in my brain.
He's Ravenclaw.
Tonks is Hufflepuff.
Yeah. And so is Newt Scamander.
Okay.
We don't have to do it right now, but I'm sorry I derailed us, but I had to know in that moment.
Literally, they don't list anybody good on the Slytherin notable members. Although Snape, I guess you could consider
Snape's
him
pretty,
good.
yeah. And then the newer characters.
What's his face? Slughorn also.
Slughorn, yeah.
Even though he's not, I don't have any bad feelings towards him.
He is a little selfish, though.
Great feelings towards him.
Yeah. But
okay, well, I will take the test
anyways,
and let you know.
I would love to know. Okay.
So going to Orion and Darcy, they go into, they realize that they're not coming. And yes, he does get angry. And I see you put it in your notes that Darius has been there for him, but has he?
I mean, he has. I think in this one, what I was more frustrated with, that he and Tory don't show up. So that should have been their first, like, something is
It should have been a red
And
flag.
it wasn't wrong, but
It should have, but also at this point, they're like, we have to do this by this time and we can't leave.
I get it. But just his thoughts of, screw him, fuck Darius. It's like, wait a minute. Think beyond that before you get mad. But I could definitely see them saying, we got to do this right now. We can't wait for him.
This is his only chance to get his sister back.
I know.
I know,
panicked.
but
He's crazy.
And I guess he knows something is not physically wrong with Darius, otherwise he would feel it. But
yeah.
But especially I didn't understand for Darcy why she didn't say, hey, maybe something has happened. Maybe something, like, I don't know. I think this was the point that I felt like she would give up Tory for Orion, because what if Tory had been in mortal danger and she wants to help Orion get his sister back instead of making sure that Tory's okay?
Yeah. And this could be from me reading the boys' point of view, but when I read that, I was like, but has Darius really been for him there? He accused him of only being his friend because his dad put a bond on him.
Yeah.
And he's a little selfish when it comes to Orion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he
definitely.
is. Definitely.
Yeah. He's possessive of him too, like with Gabriel, and he's like, he
Yeah.
wants all of his time, and he doesn't care about Orion's feelings when he wants to talk about Darcy. He doesn't listen to him whenever Orion's like, but can we consider another option for the throne or whatever? And he's like, no, not at all. So I agree with you,
know
Brittany.
what? That's why you didn't get your Elysian mate, bitch.
That's funny.
All right, so Clara comes back and she's like, it's not permanent until I have blood. All the blood was taken from me, which, by the way, how are you surviving if all your blood's been taken? And so she's like, I need yours so I can survive. And she literally drinks him to basically death, but she also stabs him.
I gotta admit, I did not see that coming.
I didn't see that coming, but there was a part when they're in the Shadow Realm, and this is where I wanted to fucking punch Darcy and be like, shut up, bitch. Let her talk, because she interrupts Clara, and Clara is literally telling them that the darkness owns her and that it has to have its way, and she's starting to expand on that, and Darcy's like, we gotta go. I'm like,
To be
let
fair-
her talk.
To be fair to Darcy, Orion wouldn't have cared. He still would have tried to save her.
Yeah, but at least he would have known and been like, protect your tummy,
Oh, man.
Or next time, bring a snack.
Yeah. And they don't have enough magic. Clara runs off. Also, I love how Orion was like, I have this whole plan to hide her away. But Clara runs off and leaves Orion there basically drained and dying. And do you remember when Clara scratched Tori's arm and it took every bit of magic that Orion had to heal that one little scratch?
Yeah.
Imagine what it's going to take to save him if he's saved. So he may not make it.
Yeah. And you see my last line on there. I was like, I'm glad for Orion. It feels like he got a huge piece of himself back. I just hope that it's really Clara and or that she isn't evil and that I spoke too soon.
No, as soon as she was like, I have to get my blood back, I was like, fuck this. I was like, no, she's gonna run back to Lionel. I was like, oh no.
Yes.
Well, think about it. She's been in the Shadow Realm for 4 or 5 years, and being physically apart for Darius and Orion is torturous.
How was that? Okay, but she's got the guardian bond. Did it survive the shadow realm? And would that be something that would affect her right now in a severe way?
She's crazy.
So the
Or that.
so the Shadow Realm did muffle it. I'm pretty sure I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that I don't know. Anyway, but it did muffle it. But imagine if you got back and all of that is just heaped on you. All of that need and craziness. Because yes, the Guardian Bond is still in effect.
Yikes.
Still there.
Damn.
And that's why she's Bellatrix.
She is Bellatrix. I was telling Lily this earlier, but remember how I said that there's one character that calls Lionel Daddy that makes me cringe?
Clara.
Clara.
Yikes. I hate that.
Like in a
deeply.
daddy or in a daddy kind of way?
It's
Like,
not
which one?
innocent. I don't think it's innocent.
Think about Orion and Darius's bond, and they're
Okay. Ooh. All right. Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay. That's so funny.
Oh, God. So mama and daughter. All right.
Ew, gross.
Wow.
So we leave off the book with Darcy running out and throwing her phoenix fire into the air, calling for help.
Very cool ending, I think. Even though it's terrible and fucked up ending, I was very upset. But I could see in my head her lifting her hands to the air and putting all that fire out and calling for help. I thought that was cool.
Do we think she's going to get the help she needs? And is it going to be Darius?
I wondered if it was going to be Darius, but I feel like he's in a bit of a conundrum right now. I don't know.
I do, but you said something earlier about how he's going to feel when he finds out what happened and he didn't get there in time. So yeah, I think it's going to be, at least Darius will be aware of it.
I think they're going to get help because there's no fucking way Orion is dying. But
No, I don't, yeah. I didn't
No.
get upset because I didn't feel like he was going to die.
Well,
No.
do you remember if there was somebody in the area?
Gabriel, maybe?
No, but we didn't talk about it. When did he say Gabriel told Orion that his future was lost to the darkness?
when
What
did
do you,
he
what
say
do you
that?
mean? When in the book? Or
Yeah, when in the book.
it was towards the end that
Yeah.
he mentions it. Now, here's the thing. If you're lost to the darkness and you're still like showing up, wouldn't you be like, let's step back a little?
But Orion's thought
Take a moment.
process is that
I know. Get a sister.
Well, no, his thought process is that his vision cannot see the shadows. So anything to do with the nymphs or the shadows or the shadow realm, he can't see it.
Okay, but if you can't see him on the day after New Year's, maybe that's a hint.
You'd think. You'd think.
Maybe it's a hint.
But since the stars can't tell him what's going to happen, then maybe his future is up in the air. Gabriel does tell us on several occasions in the future that he sees so many outcomes that he never knows which one's going to actually come.
Yeah.
But he knows things that he can push to make the outcome that he wants.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But did y'all answer do y'all remember that there was somebody in the area?
Oh.
No,
No,
I don't
okay.
even know. Why? I
Should
don't remember where.
Should I say it? Will it be a
Yeah,
spoiler?
yeah, it's not a spoiler if it was already in the book and we just missed it.
So
Was it in the book already?
when Darcy and Orion, I think either go into the cave or are at the cave, they overhear Kylie and Seth walk
Oh,
by.
shit.
Kylie and
That's right.
Seth.
Yeah,
Isn't she trying to convince him to be her mate?
yeah, she's like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand why you can't choose me. And he's like,
Because
"It
you're not a
doesn't-"
fluff butt.
He's
Oh
like,
my
it
God.
doesn't work that way. The moon has to choose us or the stars.
Caleb will have his time.
You think the moon will choose them or the stars will choose them?
Yes. I think the moon.
You think the moon?
I think the moon because I don't see the stars doing it.
I was gonna say, you don't think they're Elysian mates?
No.
No.
Break my heart.
That'd be crazy if they were.
I
Can you be
I-
someone's Elysian mate and their moon mate?
think so.
Or
They
can-
don't really explain the moon mate thing, but in the Darkmoor Penitentiary series, the main character is moon mated to another wolf, but she's sun mated to a lion.
I think I remember you saying that. Okay, cool.
So I think that the moon can make you mates, but the stars can also make you mates.
Interesting. Now I wonder if Seth's gonna have two mates.
That would
Weird.
make sense.
All right.
All right, should we wrap it up?
Any predictions for next book? book on where this is headed?
Well, Orion's not dying.
No, I don't think Orion's dying. It's hard to predict for these books because you're not quite sure how far they go into the future. So as far as predictions for the future, then I definitely think Clara is going to stand with Lionel.
This next book, I believe, goes to the end of the school semester.
That does not help.
I predict that Geraldine and Max are going to get together again.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting thought.
I think at some point Orion is going to kill Clara.
Oh my god.
Like, back to the shadow realm with you.
Kill
you bitch.
her?
Yeah, I bet he's going to have to save all of them.
I don't know if Orion can do it. That is a good theory, though.
That would be insane. Poor Orion.
He would have to do it to like save Darcy. It'd have to be huge, like for him to do it. But
yeah.
Okay, but if you kill like a bonded pair, if he kills Lionel, does it kill Clara too?
No, we find out later on that if a guardian dies, it does nothing to the guarded. If the guarded dies, it just hurts the guardian a lot. You get to live with the feelings still, but...
Okay.
And the failure.
Okay. All right.
I know, real quick, you had predicted in our text messages, you had predicted that this is how Darcy and Orion were going to get caught.
I was thinking that, but I also didn't know he might die when I said that. So, but I do think this could be the moment.
Okay, all right.
I'm scared. So that is the end of book 4, Shadow Princess. We hope that everyone has enjoyed the show. Like I said at the start of the episode, we are going to try to divide the books up into smaller parts for easier digestion for both the listeners and for us. We'd love to hear feedback on our episodes on social media on whether you think it's a good idea or not. Next episode, we're going to be discussing book 5, Cursed Fates, chapters 1 through 10. New episodes drop every week.
Please remember to like, subscribe, and follow us on social media. That like and follow are super important for us being able to continue to bring you new episodes each week. So please do so. Thank you for listening to the Midnight Readers podcast. We'll see you next week.
Happy reading, listeners. Don't stay up too late.